Hello, little star. It's time to get cozy and comfortable. You're safe, you're warm, so close your eyes and let's have a nice bedtime story. Tonight's story is called The Clockmaker Who Borrowed Time. At the very edge of the city stood a narrow shop most people walked past without noticing, but inside it held time itself. Clocks covered every wall, tall grandfather clocks that breathed slowly, tiny brass clocks shaped like birds, pocket watches that ticked like nervous hearts. And at exactly 3 minutes past midnight, every single one stopped, except one. A tall black clock in the back room chimed 13 times. On the 13th chime, the world froze. Rain hung in the air. Cats paused mid-step. The moon stopped climbing up into the sky. Only Mr. Aldridge could move. He would remove a silver key from his waistcoat and step through the clock face into the machinery of time. Most nights he repaired small things, a loose Wednesday, a stubborn minute, a cracked afternoon. But one night, a scream echoed through the gears. A massive fracture split tomorrow in half. Through the crack crawled a creature made of abandoned seconds and wasted years. It had teeth like broken clock hands, and it was chewing on the future. The city flickered. Streetlights blinked out. Shadows moved without owners. The creature lunged. Mr. Aldridge leapt between spinning gears, dodging snapping jaws of twisted metal. He wound his silver key and hurled it into the fracture. The key shattered. Light exploded. The creature dissolved into sparks. The crack sealed. Tomorrow was saved. The clocks all restarted. Rain fell again. The city never knew how close it had come to losing its future, but Mr. Aldridge collapsed beside the great mechanism. He reached into his waistcoat for another silver key, but there wasn't one. Instead, his hands began to fade. The truth was this: he wasn't just fixing time, he was made of it. Each silver key was a year of his own life, and he had just used his last one. Back on the street, the narrow clock shop disappeared. No one remembered it, except for a small boy named Thomas. Thomas had visited the shop every Thursday after school. Mr. Aldridge had once fixed his grandfather's watch and told him, "Time isn't something you spend, it's something you share." When the shop vanished, Thomas stood staring at the blank brick wall, and in his pocket he found a tiny silver key. He didn't understand how it got there, but that night, at exactly 3 minutes past midnight, he stayed awake. He heard it. 13 chimes. Faint, far away. Thomas followed the sound. Down the quiet street, through an alley, to an empty brick wall. The air shimmered. A faint outline of a clock face appeared. Thomas pressed the silver key against the brick, but nothing happened. He thought about Mr. Aldridge, about the way he listened carefully to every ticking clock, and the way he gave his time to anyone who needed it. "Time isn't something you spend, it's something you share," Mr. Aldridge had said. Thomas closed his eyes and made a decision. He didn't wish, he didn't beg. He gave something. He gave up one of his own Saturdays, the one he'd been saving for himself. He promised to spend it helping others instead. and the silver key grew warm. The brick wall cracked open like a door. Inside, the machinery of time stood silent, and at its centre, faint as mist, was Mr. Aldridge. Thomas stepped forward. "I'll help," he said. He placed the silver key into the great mechanism and turned it. The machine roared back to life, but this time the key did not shatter. It multiplied. 1 became 2, then 2 became 10. Because the truth was something Mr. Aldridge had never realised. Time given freely does not disappear, it grows. Mr. Aldridge's form steadied. Colour returned to his hands. The gears turned smoothly once more. When the world unfroze, the narrow clock shop stood exactly where it had always been. The next afternoon, Thomas pushed open the door. The bell chimed. Behind the counter stood Mr. Aldridge, older perhaps, but smiling. "I was wondering," he said gently, "how long would it take for you to find me?" Thomas grinned. And from that day forward, the shop had 2 caretakers. One who had once given all his time away, and one who understood that sharing time is how you make it last. And every now and then, at exactly 3 minutes past midnight, if you're very quiet, you can hear 13 chimes. And now, little star, it's time for you to get some rest. The night is calm, the dark is gentle, and you are safe. Sleep well, and sweet dreams.